What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Zero Cred Podcast, where we have zero credibility and a lot of opinions. I'm Brian.
I am Warren.
I'm John today.
John today. What were you yesterday?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. Because we had to be there. Well, welcome to the episode. We are going to be talking about the Spiderman Far From Home trailer, and we're going to talk about some other news stuff that dropped.
The new trailer
The past-
with in-game spoilers.
Yes, yeah, that trailer.
The real trailer.
The trailer that matters.
Yeah.
And, we'll talk about some other news stuff. What do you got, John?
What do you mean?
What do you got? Like herpes?
Well, I mean, the only thing I got going on these days is that game I showed you guys earlier called Generation Zero. It's fun. Check it out. No, it's
That
basically,
sounds like a game about robots.
It is. It really doesn't
How
sound...
did you pick that up?
Yeah, it says like a zombie apocalypse game, but instead of zombies, they're robots, and as you saw me play, it's scary and intense.
What you showed us looked pretty awesome, honestly.
I just had to stop because it's hard. I was like, I'm going to show you guys real quick. And then I got messed up. And I was like, I just have to come back to this later.
That game does look really cool, though. I'll tell you that. I like that. Anything you got going on, Warren?
Bought Days Gone.
What's that?
How was that?
I played it. There were actual zombies, not robotic ones.
So it's like a robot apocalypse without robots.
Yeah,
Zombies instead.
Yeah, it's like it's
crazy.
It's crazy how that works. It's pretty cool. It's a little different than I thought it was gonna be, just because it's actually one of those like it's an open world story game, but like you like have to find weapons and make weapons and do stuff. The stuff that they showed us at E3 was just like, oh, hordes of enemies, you just run around and shoot them. And it's like, no, you like walk around open world with like zombies that just like, if you run by them, they'll just try to kill you and stuff like that. And then you have actual bad guy like humans that you have to worry about too. Wow. But one of the most fun things I've done so far is just use rocks to attract enemies to each other and then just let them kill each other.
Cool.
I went to a camp and it was like, kill all these guys without being noticed. So I just threw a rock until a zombie went over there and killed everybody.
That's great.
It's pretty cool. But driving is like Grand Theft Auto 5 driving. This. It's like hard to do. Like I was on a motorcycle and I was just like, I'm not ever going to make it. I'd be better off just running. So it's fun is what I'm saying.
It looked. I didn't buy it. One, my PlayStation 4 is dead.
Mine's not.
Yeah, yours is not. I didn't plan on buying it because of the trailer that they showed at E3. Because I was like, man, that looks really intense, but it didn't show me enough of the game to want to go buy it. Because all it did was show that scene of the guy running and just killing zombie after zombie after zombie. And there was like fucking horde of zombies chasing him. He kept running through a barn and then through a little opening and then waiting for them to come to a different just shoot. It was just, I was like, that looks intense, but I wanted to see more.
I believe they released that later. They had like a story trailer.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
I guess they did.
It's, again, the hype for it wasn't. By the time the game came out, the hype was like, oh, if you're going to buy this, you're going to buy it. If you're not, you're not. Yeah. Like, there's no like, oh, I'm still on the fence. Now that it's out, this trailer's out, this is going to make me buy it. Like, by the time the story trailer came out, you knew already whether or not you were going to get the game or not. So
Yeah.
But it's fun so far.
Good.
I'm enjoying it.
Good deal. Oh, yeah.
There's so many zombie games.
Oh, I know.
It's just, it gets hard to get excited about them anymore.
It does. Dying Light 2, I think, is supposed to come out this year.
That first one came out so long ago that I just don't even...
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I had great memories with the first one.
Yeah.
It was fun.
We had a lot of fun with that game. We really did.
But I don't care about the
I don't care about the sequel either at all.
Nah, sorry.
But
sorry, playa.
Until they gave us a Left 4 Dead game. 3.
I would love a Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah, I think everybody would.
Everybody would.
Get on it, Valve.
Get on it.
I'm the minority.
They're sitting there counting their money from Steam. That's what they're doing because that's what those guys did. They just made the Steam thing, Steam engine.
They refused to make a third game of any series they've ever made.
There's a lot of guys that are calling that new World War Z game a spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead. It's actually getting pretty good reviews. It's like a $40 title, and there's a lot of people that really, really dig the shit out of it. I haven't played it yet though, so I last weekend went to Texas Frightmare down in Dallas, which I'm sure you guys know about. It was awesome. Oh my goodness, I spent way too much money. I spent my life savings, all $86. No, I spent a lot. I spent a lot of money. My wife and I went down there, and we got to meet like all sorts of really cool horror actors, not horrors, horror actors, not horrors. But we got to meet like Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund. We got to meet Tim Curry, and we got to meet the guy that played the guys that played the killer in Halloween 2018, and the one that played him in the original 1978 version. We got pictures, autographs, all sorts of cool swag. Met Barbara fucking Crampton, who's awesome. I love Barbara Crampton. She's super cool.
What did she do?
She's done a lot of like really awesome scary movies in the 80s. She played in like Reanimator and Chopping Mall. It's fantastic. But yeah, she's kind of a culty scream queen, and she's really, really cool. But yeah, we had a good time. We had a blast. Other than the convention being run kind of poorly because it's in too small a spot. Because you work playing at Comic-Con with me, Warren, so you know how smooth we run that, and we've got plenty of space. It's not like you're not fucking shoulder to shoulder the whole time,
right?
At the convention, this was so bad, but I guess that it had grown roughly almost 50% from one year to the next.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
there's no way to prepare for that.
No, none whatsoever. So I think they ran it as good as they could with the space that they were allowed. But that convention it's quickly becoming one of the biggest horror conventions in the whole country. And it's time for them to get it out of the basement of this hotel. Because that's basically where they run it. They run it at the Hyatt Regency. And they got a bunch of, conference rooms and big ballrooms and stuff like that are in the basement of this hotel. And I would assume that with 50% less people, it probably wasn't that bad. But this year, it was a fucking mess. And it was horrible.
I think you have to have that 1 year of like, oh, we're big now.
Yeah.
So that you can justify moving to a bigger location.
Hopefully they didn't sign a big multi-year contract with this hotel, and hopefully they're not stuck there for a while because they got a good thing going. As far as the content that goes there was a lot of big names. I didn't get to see some of them. Like I didn't get to meet Elvira. I really wanted to. I didn't get to meet Bruce Campbell. Really wanted to meet him. I met Robert Englund, but I didn't get to get an autograph because we met him as part of our photo op. But the line to actually get up to meet him was just unfucking real. And I was like, I'm not spending 4 hours in line to meet this guy. And that's how long it took people to get to see him. They were there in that line for 4 hours to meet Robert Englund. And I'm like, yeah, now I'll meet about 12 people while you're meeting Robert Englund. I mean, now I get it. He's a horror icon. He was the biggest guest there probably. Sam Raimi was there too, director of our favorite Spider-Man trilogy. There's not a Spider-Man trilogy. It's the only Spider-Man trilogy. So
yeah, that's why it's the favorite.
Yeah, that's why it's the favorite. But yeah, he was there along with his brother Ted Raimi, who played in a lot of like scary movies and stuff like that. But yeah, Sam Raimi, who of course he directed like the Evil Dead and the Army of Darkness franchise. Yeah, it was a lot of fun though. It was awesome. There was big names there. There was some really really cool people. There was some cool moments. Joe Bob Briggs was also there. But I had a good time. So that's all I've done. That's what I did. I guess we're ready to move on, aren't we?
Watchmen.
Oh, we're gonna talk about Watchmen. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
looks interesting.
It does look interesting.
I don't know a whole lot, but I'll probably catch like the pilot, and if it pulls me in, I'll watch it.
There you go.
I think I was reading an article about how I think HBO is planning on this replacing Game of Thrones.
Ooh, wow, that's bold.
Yeah,
that's got big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
it's got big shoes to fill, but they're kind of opening the door.
What do you mean,
so to speak? Well, I just feel like with the way the last season is ending, it's not like, oh my god, nothing's ever going to replace this show. Like I don't feel like it's ending on as high of a note as it started. So I think that,
or as it's been,
it's been, right? Yeah. So I think that this show could, if it is done well enough, could come in and be like the next big thing.
I don't know if it'll be. I don't know if we'll ever have something as big as Game of Thrones. It'd have to be something that's very diehard fans. Where this, I feel like Watchmen's gonna be a good show. It looks good. It looked like, if you don't know anything about it, you can watch that trailer and be like, "What is going on here? I gotta check this out."
It does. It looks high quality.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
They got good names in it.
I don't know if they can make enough content to make it the biggest show. But they can make it a successful show, and that might just be what they want as a replacement for Game of Thrones. But
right.
It'd be the same thing as asking Feige and the Russo brothers to do Endgame again. Like, go do the biggest movie again.
Here's another good comparison. Asking Better Call Saul to take over for Breaking Bad.
I don't know if they ever wanted that to, though. Because Better Call Saul started while Breaking Bad was on.
Did it?
Yeah.
It did? Oh, okay. I didn't know. I didn't know it started while Breaking Bad was on. I thought it picked up right after it was done.
And that to me felt like, here's just more stuff. If you're such a diehard fan and you need a little bit more, here's this show as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were like, let's try to do it again.
I almost like Better Call Saul more than Breaking Bad.
I've heard that. I've never watched it, but I heard it's really good.
It's great.
But
Better Call Saul is awesome.
I think they just want. I guess it's weird to say that they want to try to make another Game of Thrones when they have spin-offs planned for Game of Thrones. So it's like that vacuum's not going to be. There's not going to be a power vacuum. They're still going to have Game of Thrones content.
Oh, I didn't know.
We don't know when.
They were doing spin-off shows. Okay.
Yeah, well, they've planned and they say this and that and this and that, but apparently we're getting a prequel show. At some point, and then they say they have a couple other things that they want to try to do, but for Game of Thrones. But
when they say they want it to sort of be the replacement, it sounds like it's just that, maybe not expecting it to be the next biggest show, but like the new lead show of HBO.
Right.
So it looks like it could be, if they, like you said, if they do it right. But that is yet to be seen. But it caught my eye. The trailer is kind of intense.
It looks unique. Like we were talking earlier off the cast. It looks like it takes off right where not right after, but after the events of the movie. So it's got some good names in it. Jeremy Irons and Don Johnson. It's got some good actors. So it's definitely got good talent. Having good talent is always a good thing. It's always going to make something, at least a certain element of what you got, good.
Right.
So I love Jeremy Irons. I think he's cool. I like him a lot.
I'm just curious if they're gonna make it accessible to everybody. Like, you don't have to see the movie to. I hope it's planned out and explained to understand what's going on, because that's why I don't think it could be, because you're making a show that has a movie, and if, like you said, if it does just take place after the movie, there's people who have never seen the movie and they were like, "Oh, what's this show?" And they're like, "I have no idea what's going on."
Yeah, and they run that risk because the movie. While I find the movie cool, it was very divisive.
Right.
There was a lot of people that just was like, "This is fucking trash," and a lot of people didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool movie.
But I mean, to be fair, they did the same thing with Game of Thrones, where it's based on books. You don't have to read the books to understand the show, but you're making a TV show on a series of books that's not like the biggest series ever made. It became the biggest series ever made because of the TV show.
I agree.
It had gained a cult following and was getting big because they came out in the 90s.
Yeah,
or at least they started in the 90s, and it eventually got there. But they made the Harry Potter movies because those were the biggest books out at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the same thing. So I guess they've done it before, so they could do it again with Watchmen.
Yeah, that's true.
But to me, I'm like, do they have enough content to make a successful series? Because it's like, to me, if like when they say we're gonna make a Watchmen series, I'm like, you can make probably really 2 awesome seasons of show. But then it's like, how much further can you go after that?
Yeah, I don't know how many stories there are as far as graphic novels, because I've never read any of them. But yeah, that's a good question.
Because to me, what makes a show great is when they have an end game, when they have a plan.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
The reason why Walking Dead is currently dying is because they never had a plan. They're just like, let's just keep cranking it out.
Yep.
And now the actors have left. The show has like record low ratings.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not
like
good.
you should have made like a 5 to 7 year plan.
Yeah.
And called that quits, and you could have made one of the best shows ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead, they're just struggling to keep people coming back. You're right. It's not good. We also got 3 new Star Wars movies coming out.
I wonder if it's gonna be a brand new story that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's the 3 that they've got scheduled in are part of the Rian Johnson trilogy that they gave him, or otherwise.
I just want let's just go somewhere else in the story. Let's.
I'm kind of down for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I would like to see is some of the stuff that they do in like the Old Republic games.
Yes.
So like there's a storyline in one of the expansions where there's like a whole nother empire that has nothing to do with Sith or Jedi, and they were just waiting in the dark, just letting the Sith and the Jedi just destroy each other. And then this guy had 2 sons who were trained with the lightsaber, but they didn't use like red or
they used orange.
They used like orange and yellow or something, and they just went through and they were going to like Sith temples, Jedi temples, and just shutting the whole thing down.
That sounds awesome.
And I'm like, let's just get that. Let's get stuff like that.
You can go on YouTube and search Knights of the Old Republic CGI
scenes,
cinematic scenes, and it's all the combat is better than anything we've gotten, excluding I would say Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's that level in all these games, like that level fighting in all these cinematic trailers.
The story within those scenes are like cool. They hook you. You're like, well, I want just the full movie of this. I don't even need live action. Just give me this cinematic, but a full movie. Like that's how good it is, And you just get interesting dynamics. Like the 2 brothers, one of them ends up going to the dark side, the other one's the light side, and because he was the light side, he gets killed. Because the brother was like, "Oh, I get what Dad is doing. He's trying to figure out who's going to be the heir because there can only be one of us." So he kills him.
And the one on the dark side's the only one that's going to take out the other one to claim his heir.
Yeah.
But even then, he's still not a Sith. It's just that's how he runs his empire. You have different stories where like they show the Sith coming back, and they go and attack a Jedi temple.
Oh yeah, that
one's
like
crazy. An all-out war.
It's like 50 on 50.
It's like 50 on 50. And
it's just crazy.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's dope.
And they're just like 5 to 10 minute cinematic scenes, and you're just like, why are we focusing more on? Not saying that they're bad, because I love them. I've said this before. Even if they're bad, I'm gonna watch them and I'm gonna love them because I'm in the universe. I'm experiencing Star Wars. I'm experiencing my childhood. But let's get some awesome shit going here. Like we don't need. I feel like they're just trying to recreate stuff that they've already done. I'm like, well, let's just get some new shit. And so I'm hoping the new trilogy is. And I've heard rumors that we are going back to the Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
But that's just what I dream.
Yeah.
But then, like, they made a TV show, or they're making a TV show for Disney Plus, The Mandalorian. And I'm like, this sounds cool and stuff, but we have a lot of that kind of stuff in the movies. We have the smuggler, Han Solo. He even has his own movie. Like, can we get can we get a series that follows like a Padawan through his journey of becoming a Jedi? That would be so cool.
I would say just do like an Animatrix style, if anything.
Right.
Just release a bunch of mini stories that are CGI cinematics and just tell some cool stories.
Yeah, because that's how I feel. I'm like, we don't need much. You don't need a huge movie production, TV show production. You could make it an animated or CGI. That's how I feel the same exact way about this Sonic movie. Why is it live action?
have no idea.
Just take a CGI movie like Wreck-It Ralph, any like Pixar. Just make that kind of movie with Sonic, and you would have a great movie. Why did he have to come live action?
I don't know.
Right.
I think they had to because they had James Marsden in it.
Just make him CGI.
They just wanted to have James Marsden in the movie.
And
God, I'm so glad they're redesigning that character.
Can we go into some conspiracy theories?
Absolutely.
I don't think that's the real version of the movie.
You don't think so?
I think they already had the redesign and they released that to make us mad. Because they've released, there are concept images of a Sonic, not the fan made ones, because the fan made ones, it's like, yeah, that's what he should look like.
Yeah.
There's ones from like leaks from who's making it, Universal, Paramount. I don't know who's making it. Paramount, yeah, because they're already in shit. But
oh god, yeah.
There's leaks from Paramount of a redesign or a different design that looks like Sonic, and so people are thinking that they just released this to stir the pot, and because they were so like, yeah, we'll change it. That doesn't happen. Nobody just.
It typically doesn't. It typically does not. Yeah.
And so they were just so ready to change it that I think they already had a different version. I think they already have a good version of the movie, and they just wanted to get some hype.
Some bad hype. Because now people will be like, okay, they redesigned it, let's go see it.
Yeah, well, because now people are like, well, let's see what it is now that they redesigned it. Because some people might not have ever went and seen the original version.
Do you think that if they'd released a Sonic trailer of what we would want Sonic to look like, you don't think it would have done well?
I think it would have just been okay.
You think it would just
but
been okay?
All press is good press. And so that's not the phrase. What's the phrase? No press is bad press? I don't know the phrase, but you know what I mean. Like, they got people talking about this so much that
the saying is there's no such thing as bad press. There's bad publicity.
Yeah, and so I think
it's like neither one of you know.
I think he's right. As bad publicity.
He's
That's
right.
how it is.
First he said
I said the same thing
because I said press because he said press. But yeah, there's no such thing as bad publicity. But
and so I think it got it so hyped that now I think more people are going to go see the new version.
If that's the case, I'm not gonna lie, I respect the fuck out of them.
I mean, if they can pull it off,
that's brilliant.
Because I don't think, there's a Sonic fan base, but it's not.
It's definitely not what it was.
More people are seeing the Detective Pikachu movie than that would see a regular Sonic movie.
I want to see it so bad. I want to go see it.
Yeah, I thought about seeing it this weekend, but I didn't. If they would have made it like a CGI movie, they could have set it in Sonic's universe, because Sonic has a universe that has one human, and now we're putting it in a movie where it's our universe that has one Sonic character. You know, like, because you have Tails and Knuckles and all these other characters, but we're they're setting it in a universe where it's our universe and there's Sonic the Hedgehog.
No, it's just the way it sounded when you said it was funny.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
you're still talking about it.
Yeah.
Instead of setting it in a universe that actually makes sense to what the franchise is.
Yeah, exactly.
God, I don't.
I think it's gonna be pretty bad. I'll see it.
I want to see how bad.
Well, we'll have to go see it so we can talk shit about it.
It's gonna make money the same way Batman v Superman made money.
I don't know if it's gonna.
I don't know if it's.
No, I'm not saying the amount. I'm saying the way, which is people are gonna be like, I gotta see if it's gonna be as bad as everyone.
I wonder how much they spent on that fucking shit.
Well, if they didn't already have it set up for another version, they're gonna have to go back and reanimate all the CGI. So
I kind of hope they. Well, they didn't have a release date though, so
they did.
Oh, they did. I didn't think they had. It
comes out this year.
Yeah, but I didn't think they had a solid date. Did they have a solid date?
Yeah, November 8th.
November 8th. They're either in crunch time or you're right. Yeah.
And I love Ben Schwartz, who's voicing Sonic, which is kind of a weird choice. And so, like, I just hope it's good for him. Like, because I just want him to have a successful movie.
They should have had. That's a good voice. That's a good person, yeah. But I kind of wish they'd have gone with something like a really, really old man with a grovelly voice.
Right.
Like, not to say that Danny DeVito is really old, but just for some reason.
Danny DeVito should have been Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, I agree with that too, yeah. Well, I don't know, I don't, because I like Ryan Reynolds. So.
Yeah, I just think we have enough of them.
We do have, yeah. I mean, Deadpool and Pikachu. I guess that's enough for Ryan Reynolds.
Anyway, let's talk about some shit that actually matters.
Well, we could go on to talk about how Endgame is breaking every single record
ever.
It's
not the highest generated movie yet, though, is it? Worldwide, Avatar still has the.
I think Avatar still has it by like $80. Not by much. Yeah, it's not by much.
Because that's like it was like 2.7 billion, I think, is the amount that Avatar generated by the end of its run. But that was total, and we're only like 2.5 weeks out from Endgame, so it has plenty of time to sell DVDs and make way more than what Avatar did.
All-time worldwide box office gross. Let's see here. Yep. It's still Avatar, but it won't be after probably 2 more weeks. Because Avatar has $2.7 billion worldwide, and Avengers Endgame has made 2.4, and it's number 2. So, yeah. Yeah, it'll Endgame will go on to...
I mean, it might fizzle out. I don't know. It wasn't number 1 this weekend.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't Detective Pikachu.
No, it was. It was number 1 by almost $5 million. Look.
I just saw an article that said Detective Pikachu was number 1 this weekend. It kicked in
I looked last night. Did you check today? Really? Wow. No, you're wrong. $54 million for Pikachu, $63 million for Endgame.
For this weekend?
Yep. Has to be.
It might have been just a day. I think Friday... That's would have been what I heard was that Friday was Endgame.
Yeah, might have been, but
or Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, but yep. Number 1 movie was Endgame again for 63.2, and Pokemon was number 2 for 54.3. That's still a really good amount of money, though.
It might have been number 1 release this weekend.
Oh, yeah. It could have been, yeah. The number 1 out of the ones that opened. Because it definitely beat the fucking Hustle, which looks awful, and it beat Palms and Tolkien.
I saw Palms.
Is Palms good?
Yeah.
Is it? I like all the actresses in that movie. So.
Yeah. You know who else I like the actors in?
Who?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, you really want to talk about this.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We're going to talk about it again.
Kind of, in a way, yeah.
So, okay, Warren, you're very anxious to get onto it, and I understand. So, what do you got, man?
Drugs.
Okay.
Of the spider variety.
Of the spider.
But yeah, we got the Spider-Man Far From Home actual trailer.
Yeah, the real one.
The real one. So, essentially, we all came to the conclusion that the original one that Sony released was just like, hey, we're making a movie, basically.
Right.
And none of the stuff in it was the same. Some of the stuff was the same, but most of the dialogue was supposed to be a redirect. Even some of the visuals were also a redirect. But we now know that for sure it takes place after Endgame.
Yep.
And we're dealing with a Tony-less universe.
A Tony-less Peter Parker.
That too. And Tony-less Nick Fury, and a Tony-less MJ, and a Tony-less Ned. Everyone here is Tony-less, okay? So...
I've never had a Tony.
Well, you better get on Broadway.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
It was dumb, but it was accurate.
It was dumb, but good.
But yeah, so we kick it off with a fucking spoiler warning.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And of all the people to be given the spoiler warning,
I'm glad that they had him do that. But part of me wishes they'd have had Benedict Cumberbatch, because he was the one that was constantly keeping Tom Holland from spilling the beans.
That would have been funny if Tom Holland was like, all right, guys, so we shot this movie. And then he just walks in and he's like, nah, don't do it.
Yeah.
I'll answer that question. I got it. But, you know, I thought that was also really nice on Sony's part and Marvel Studios' part to be like, hey, if you haven't seen this movie, don't watch it. Because most of the time they're just like, oh, here's this trailer. And everybody's like, oh, yeah. And then everything's spoiled.
I did read that somewhere there, some theaters... Disney has added the Far From Home trailer to the end of Endgame as like a post-credit scene.
I heard about that too.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, that would make like if they did that opening weekend, that would have been cool. Like,
that would have been awesome, actually.
Yeah, but I think. the way they made it look like is that they waited till they dropped like, don't spoil this movie anymore. Mm-hmm. The Russo brothers like, all right, we're good. You can we're out of the spoiler free zone now.
Right.
It was like a week or two after, and then they released that trailer. So I think that's what their plan was with that, was to wait until to release it until they came out and said that.
Yeah, because the Russos said they were giving everybody 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To see it, and then all bets were off, and they were going to start spoiling everything. I saw like a TV spot the other day that showed like everybody coming through the portals and stuff, and I was like,
"You had your chance.
You had your chance." I'm glad I saw it already.
You had your chance, guys.
But essentially, we have Mysterio. That was real. Mm-hmm. But apparently, it is Quentin Beck from another universe.
Right.
So I don't know how true that is.
I don't know either.
Because it's Quentin Beck.
Yeah.
Anyone who doesn't know who Quentin Beck is, he is Mysterio.
He's a con artist.
He's a con artist. Yeah. But he started out as kind of like a Hollywood stuntman.
Yeah.
And then he quickly sort of realized he could kind of be bigger than that. Mm-hmm. And he tried to do the acting thing. That didn't work out. And then he tried to be a hero. Like an actual hero, and that didn't work out because Spider-Man was so beloved. So then he was like, "Man, fuck Spider-Man." And then Daily Bugle was like, "We don't like Spider-Man." So he just kind of was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna set him up basically and make it look like he does a bunch of crimes." So he basically like recreates Spider-Man's suit and he like decks it out with gadgets so he can like stick to walls and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then he frames Spider-Man for like robbing a bunch of banks and stuff. And then he appears as Mysterio. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna save everybody from Spider-Man." And because it was in like this was written in like 1963, it gets like really crazy.
Right.
And so Peter's all like, "I think I have personality disorder." It's just like really ridiculous.
Yeah.
But eventually he gets debunked, and then Peter stops him.
Right.
But he becomes obsessed with stopping Peter and getting his name back, and that kind of ends up being their story throughout most of the comics, is him just trying to outcon Peter. So I don't know if they're going to pull from that storyline, so then this multiverse stuff is just him shooting the shit, and then he's going to like portray himself as a hero, and then Spider-Man's going to somehow, by actually saving the day, out that Mysterio is not really a hero, and then he's going to hate him from that point on, or if there's going to be something before that, or if it really is Quentin Beck from another universe. Because if it's not, then they're making me mad because they're yanking my chain, and I want a multiverse because there's a lot of other cool stuff we could do.
Yeah, very much so.
I think that if I just was going to guess, I think that this Mysterio is not from another timeline or multiverse, whatever you want to call it. I think he is from our timeline, and he's, conning Nick Fury and Spider-Man. But I think through that, they discovered that there are multiverses and other timelines and all this other jazz. I think Peter Parker does the science and figures it out because he's super smart. Mm-hmm. And so it would be cool if they showed that off a little bit. Because sometimes they act like he's an airhead, but he's not. He's one of the smartest characters in the show or in the universe.
Yeah.
But I think he discovers that there are multiverses, but I think Mysterio is from our dimension, and he's just being a con artist.
Well, I'll say I could see that. I could see Nick Fury and them stumbling upon the rip in our dimension. Mm-hmm. And then him being like, "Oh, now's my chance." Quentin Beck shows up and he's like, "Hey, I got these powers."
Right, yeah.
And these monsters that are showing up are from this other dimension that I'm also from. And then, like you said, Peter finds it out. And then Peter's like, "Oh, that guy's been lying. Like, the dimension thing is real, but he's not." But we'll see. Because, I mean, there is a ultimate storyline, like an Ultimate Mysterio from the Ultimate series, which is like the alternate universe that Marvel does. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, they could be going with that too.
Is he a good guy in that series? Or is he a villain still?
I'm not entirely sure on that, but I know that is a possibility.
Yeah.
So that's what is making it so hard for people to be like, "Oh yeah, he's like lying," because there isn't the fact that there is the Ultimate series, which has nothing to do with the actual cinematic or regular timeline for regular comics. It just, when you say multiverse, it allows you to be like, oh, they could just be pulling from the Ultimate, which is like why people are like, oh, maybe that's how we'll get Miles Morales, or that's how we'll get Multiversal Avengers, or that's how we'll get the Fantastic Four now, or that's how we'll get the X-Men now. Right. So you can do a lot of stuff with it, which is what I put in my notes. Like I was like, multiverse, but there are some buts to it to me. Like you can't bring back Tony that way. We don't have a young Captain America anymore. Like, don't do that. Don't be like, oh, this is a Cap from this universe. Unless you're gonna do like Hydra Cap or something like that, then you could do something like that.
Or it's a different Cap. Like it's not Chris Evans. It's a different character.
Like I don't do Captain Britain. I don't fucking care. Like just don't do Captain America's Steve Rogers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Don't do Iron Man Tony Stark. You can do like Riri Williams. Mm-hmm. You can do, anything else, but just don't. Like I would give me Amadeus Cho for all I fucking care. Hulk, I don't care.
I like Amadeus Cho.
Just don't bring people back. Don't make what happened in Endgame pointless with this.
Right, exactly.
But
another thing I think that they are going to discover that there is a like rip in dimensions or whatnot is because in Endgame, Supreme Sorcerer, whatever her name is,
the Ancient One.
Yeah, the Ancient One explains to Hulk that the 6 stones basically keep the timeline in the universe intact. Mm-hmm. And then now in our timeline in Endgame or in Spider-Man, the stones don't exist anymore, mm-hmm. and so they're not keeping the world stitched together,
right?
Which could mean breaches or at least easier to access multiverses and other dimensions and whatnot.
Yeah, because in their timeline, the stones have been destroyed.
That's what I just said.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, you said it without saying it, and I said it by saying
we don't have the stones anymore.
Oh yeah, you did. Because they were destroyed. Yeah, that's right.
But so that
must have slept to sleep. Slept to sleep.
So that could be an explanation why this stuff could be happening. So I guess we'll see with that.
Well, okay. Well, let's do this right now. So when the movie comes out, we can laugh at whoever was wrong.
Okay.
Is Quentin Beck really from a different universe?
No.
No.
I'm gonna say yes.
Just so you can be the one right if we're wrong.
Yes.
Also, nothing wrong with
someone
that.
can get laughed at, because if we all say no, we're all gonna we're not gonna have anyone to laugh at. So.
Oh, we can always find shit to laugh at us, man.
But so some of the stuff that I guess I just kind of noted down was like, when we finally see him, obviously he's really still torn up about Tony being gone.
Right.
But it looks like Happy is gonna kind of be his sort of partner in crime now.
Right.
Like, hey, I know it sucks, but
he's almost treating him a little better.
Yeah, because you have a whole he has a little bit more to do now, so you got to be a little bit more encouraged.
I like how he's treating him a little nicer.
But I think it's also one of those things that he's trying to get him to take it a little bit more serious, because now Tony's gone. Like you got
because they keep saying we need somebody to step in, fill Iron Man's shoes,
and it looks like he's at least better at being a superhero, and we see that in that opening scene when he's fighting all those guys and he's kind of like just doing work. Some of it's clearly the suit being the suit, because he's still got the Iron Spidey suit, but he's clearly...
I'm glad he doesn't have that through the whole movie, though.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah.
And so, but it does look like he's kind of in a groove now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he looks more comfortable.
Yeah. And so I like that. Now,
Thanos snapped some sense into him.
Thank you guys for listening to the episode today.
This was Brian's last podcast.
But yeah, I mean, I like it. One of the other things I thought about, and this is just me being a huge Spider-Man fan. It's not going to happen. That's not what it is. But I just like the idea of that red and black suit being the Superior Spider-Man suit, and because it's a dimensional thing, that we actually get Superior Spider-Man, and that's why that is there. That's not what's happening, but that just that's always going to be in the back of my mind because
Superior Spider-Man was when Doc Ock.
Yeah, he switched bodies.
With Peter. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, that's not what's happening here.
Right.
But it looks so much like that suit.
The red with the black instead of blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite looking suit.
It's cool looking.
Well, you like the worst Spider-Man.
What?
No.
Damn.
No, I'm kidding.
Damn.
But it just makes me go like, oh, now you say multiverse. I'm like, what if he's just like, oh, there's a dimension. Let me just slide over here and pretend to be Spider-Man for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, or because the storyline, one of the storylines, Mysterio, like you said, pretends to be Spider-Man, and he kind of uses the mind thing to kind of keep Spider-Man from doing anything, really. And he pretends to be Spider-Man. Maybe that's why he has a different suit. Maybe that's Quentin Beck, quote-unquote, impersonating Spider-Man to turn him into a villain, to then go in and portray himself as a hero. Something like that could be happening, too. But I don't think so. I think Nick Fury's just like, here's a cool upgrade.
Yeah.
I was, to be honest and fair, I was really skeptical about this movie until this trailer came out.
I was too.
I saw this trailer, I was like, okay, it's going to be good because I want a Spider-Man movie where he is in New York being Spider-Man. And we just really didn't even get a lot of that in Homecoming. Yeah. And so when they're like, this movie's going to take place over in a different country and it's going to be Far From Home, titled Far From Home, I'd be like, okay, why? Like, I was like, why are we doing that? But okay. But then after seeing this trailer, I think I'll get over it. I think they're going to handle it just fine. It looks like there's going to be a lot of Spider-Man and not just Peter Parker being a teenager. Which I feel like we got a lot of that in Homecoming and less Spider-Man than I would like.
Die and come back.
Grow up real fast.
I mean,
you get some him, he didn't sense even know, really. Snapped into you.
I'm so sick of you. No way. I mean, I know for him wasn't that long, but he knew he was dead. Like, he knew, like, these are the stakes.
Yeah, well, he knows that he's been gone for 5 years.
Yeah, like, these are the stakes.
Which would have been really cool if they tied in those 5 years that Miles Morales took up the mantle of Spider-Man. But anyway, they missed that opportunity.
Or did they?
Did they? We haven't seen this movie yet.
Yeah.
True, but I'm just saying, that'd be cool.
Because we obviously have the Prowlers in the universe. Not as the Prowler, but Uncle Aaron is there. And he says, my nephew lives in this area.
We know.
They've all been snapped. They're the same age. He's 5 years older. Oh, shit. I got bit by a spider. I'm Spider-Man. Well, not really, but I have these powers. I watched Spider-Man die because Peter fights Green Goblin and he gets killed in the next Spider-Man movie. And then we get Miles Morales. Everyone's mad because Tom Holland's great, but now we have Miles Morales. It's wonderful.
Man, I just got sad real quick.
But that would be a good way to bring him in because you say, 5 years passed.
Yeah.
He's older. They're not. Which we have to assume everyone in his class was snapped because they're all the same age.
At least him and his friends, yeah.
But that doesn't justify the in-game meeting of him and Ned, while Ned felt like he was... Like, he greeted him as if he was alive still and Peter was gone.
My take on that is that their last encounter was him watching Spider-Man get on a spaceship and fly away.
Yeah, and that's a good take. Yeah.
So that's like, what, you were back. Like, you didn't die in space.
You didn't die in space, thank God.
When you jumped on a spaceship with aliens and
doesn't justify his age.
Yeah, he was snapped. That justifies his age.
Yeah, but pretty much everyone that was snapped knew they were snapped.
No, I'm saying that he embraced Spider-Man not because he was snapped, because he watched Peter go onto a spaceship and fly away.
I mean, but I would have greeted him because.
And so now they're seeing each other.
The snap. Yeah, that's what I would have been doing because I knew I was dead.
I don't think they knew a lot.
Well, no, Peter definitely knew that he died.
I didn't say him. I'm saying like.
Oh, that's true.
General
Because, we don't know. Yeah, that's true.
They don't know everything.
Yeah,
they don't. But
and so the way I take Ned's reaction was not like,
right, yeah.
Oh, you got snapped. You've been gone for 5 years. I take it as I watched you get on a spaceship and fly away, a giant ring in the sky. I'm just glad that you made it back from that.
I wonder if they're gonna address any of that.
They will. They have to. They have to because I'm not the only person saying these things.
Yeah.
They have to because this movie still takes place in this phase. This is the last movie of phase 3. Yeah.
And you have to address the 5-year situation.
Yeah.
So, because that still is a problem.
Yeah. They're going.
So,
but the only thing that's going to throw me off is that how long does this take place after Endgame is what I'm
sure they're going to kick it off with like so many days after Endgame.
Right, because everything seems fine. Like if you saw the world, those 5 years, everything was not fine. The world was kind of going to shit.
It probably, with him being as experienced as he looks in the trailer, and like you said, things looking or appearing to be okay, it probably takes at least a year to a couple of years after.
Unless when they snapped everybody back, everything just went back. Like, it was still 5 years in the future, but everything was fine. There weren't boats all around the Statue of Liberty. Like, I think everything wasn't chaos.
Kind of get that, didn't we? Because when Ant-Man walks out to the window, everything was, like, light again.
Yeah, it was like, but that's just like the sun was out and birds were chirping. So
they weren't chirping before the snap.
I know, but that's because they only had half
the birds.
Birds be snapping.
Every bird.
There's only half the amount of birds.
But he did that intentionally because he doesn't like birds. So he just snapped every fucking bird.
So yeah, hopefully a lot of those questions get answered.
I'm sure they will.
And we have a sort of what I think is a misdirect, but MJ kind of being like, "Yeah, I know you're Spider-Man."
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's kind of a misdirection.
I will say. The movie would be justified to an extent for just having the reveal be like that, because when you watch Homecoming, it is kind of obvious that he's Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah,
like they don't do a good job of hiding it. Well, I don't know if any of them really have. Like,
no, not really.
I think probably the Tobey Maguire one did the best. Like,
yeah.
You know, because most of the scenarios that he was in when he had to be Spider-Man, it was like a crowd of people, and he was just like, "I'm just gonna slip through this," and then go be Spider-Man.
The one part in that whole trilogy is when Doc Ock attacks the bank, and he just leaves Aunt May to go be Spider-Man. Oh, your son is so noble. Yeah, and I was just like, that was kind of shitty, but obvious that Spider-Man's here now. I think my nephew's Spider-Man. But anyway,
well, you know, she's old as fuck.
So. Yeah, the new Aunt May would have figured it out.
Aunt May probably already figured it out.
Aunt May figures it out at the end of.
I know. I'm saying that if we have this Aunt May and Tony, or in the first Spider-Man, she would have figured it out.
She'd have known, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be. I wonder.
I think that's a misdirect too, though. I really do. I think that she's saying something just to mess with them because she's always messing with them. And then she probably does find out, though, in the movie. She'll probably find out. Mm-hmm. So, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with her character. I think Zendaya is really good in that role.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it was him just being like, you know, "Hey, I like you." And then she was like, "Yeah, I know." Pretty obvious.
Oh, yeah. They could have edited that together to make it look all...
Yeah, but there also was the line of "You're Spider-Man," and then he's like, No. But again, we saw stuff in the Endgame trailer that wasn't even in the movie.
Yeah,
or it was phrased differently in the movie.
Or we've seen things from the first Spider-Man trailer that were different in this trailer. Mm-hmm. Like his suit in that one scene with Happy he's wearing the Iron Spider.
There's also no Aunt May in that scene as well.
Well, she could have been gone by the time we see them talking in this trailer.
I understand that.
Because she's definitely there. I think she's there in that scene. I just think the part that we see in this trailer is just them two talking now.
Right.
Can we answer that so we can make fun of people when it comes out like we did that last thing?
Is Aunt May in that one scene?
I'm gonna say no, she's not.
I think she is.
I'm gonna say she's not either. Oh. I'm also gonna say that's not the same scene.
I could see that too.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I'm also gonna say that's not the same scene. Right. Honestly, that's my opinion.
Somebody's getting made fun.
I don't feel like this one is as big as the other one.
Yeah, no.
You make fun of me for this one.
Big.
I won't care.
But yeah, we got that. We got Nick Fury, who... do you want to make your point?
No, it's not that big of a deal.
You feel childish now?
Which one?
The one
I know.
Because
that's right.
He already made it, so he's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fans know.
Yeah.
But no, there's a Nick Fury line changed in the trailer. instead of saying, "It's nice to meet you, Spider-Man," he says, "You're a hard person to get a hold of because I think they met at the funeral. You guys think that nobody knew he was there, even though he wasn't hiding. He was out in the open." But anyway, we can move along.
That's his way of like. I get the impression, like I think of that Kermit meme of him sipping tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, there as he gets his drink.
I'm all out. I can't.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Golden
I mean, but he did say contact because he like called him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird that they have this movie ending the phase. You would think Endgame would end the phase. But I guess they're like, we kind of need to give you something else where everything's kind of together and you can see the universe after
I think that's becoming a popular style today, is having the thing right before the end be the big moment and then having something wrap it up. And I think that's what Spider-Man's doing. That's what they've been doing in Game of Thrones for the past like 4 or 5 seasons. The second to last episode, because usually in a TV show, the season finale, that's what you're waiting for. But when you watch Game of Thrones, it's always the episode before the end. And then the last episode kind of gives you some answers. Because if you watch a show and they do all the crazy shit in the last episode, then it's over. And you're like, I gotta wait a year to get more answers? What? So I like that we had Endgame and then Spider-Man's like, here's some answers that you might want.
Or need.
5 years.
Or desire.
Tony's dead. Everybody said. Spider-Man
or
cries.
For.
I cried a couple times in the trailer. There we go.
Well, I know it looks good. So.
It does.
Yeah, I like this trailer a lot more than the first one they gave us, a teaser trailer that they gave us.
It makes a lot more sense than the other one does too.
Although, I mean, it was cool to see some of the elemental beasts that he's going to be fighting, the elemental creatures and shit like that. But they didn't show a whole lot of that in this one, but they didn't need to.
They did release like a clip. I don't know if either one of you saw it, where basically it's like 30 seconds. And it's basically just like they're walking on the bridge. And then the water monster's like, "Bitch, I'm here." And then Peter's like, "Go, go, go." He tells Ned, "Don't let anybody see me." Like, basically is what he tells him. And then Ned's like, "All right, guys, we gotta go." And so he's basically like, Ned's like, "You gotta do something because there's a giant water monster." And I'm thinking to myself, he doesn't have a suit or anything. What do you mean he's gotta do something? Like, what is he gonna do? It's water. Like...
Throw a bunch of ice cubes in there, trying to freeze.
But basically the scene is like Ned's like, "You gotta do something." He's like, "Okay, just go get people out here. Don't let anybody see me." And then there's like these giant wood things in the water, so it's like staggered. And they're just like like half of it's in the water, half of it's out, and he's just like jump, 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 like super casual. And I was like, oh, because he's Spider-Man, he's super human, he can jump like that. Normal person would just struggle. But he was just like running on them like they were just regular steps. Like he was just like step, step, step. Gets up there, then he gets blasted with water.
Yeah, that explains why there's the scene of him getting blasted with water. But he's in his clothes, like he's not.
Oh yeah. I was wondering where you were going with that too.
There's a scene in the trailer where he gets blasted with water.
I really wish you would have just stopped right there.
It was kind of
like he gets blasted with water, and you're like, that explains why he got blasted with water, and then that's it. And then Mysterio shows up in the scene, and he's just like,
"Yeah, you don't want any part of this," or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah, he just shows up and he fights him.
I still think that those are kind of his creation, and he's using those to try to look like he's a hero. I mean, they're definitely causing havoc, and he's definitely safe, but he's also creating them. I don't know, but yeah, we'll find out this July, right? It'll come out in July.
July 2nd.
July 2nd.
But I'm on the same boat as you, where it's like, what is he gonna do? It's water. How do you fight water?
Right.
You freeze it.
Well, he can't do that.
Yeah,
that's
not
a really nice
that's not a spider ability. You're right.
A button-up shirt on. You can't freeze shit.
Like he has this really nice button-up shirt. You can't do nothing. He probably didn't have any web slingers. He didn't have any outfit.
Hey man, I'm not telling you what he's gonna do. I'm just telling you what I would do. I would freeze that water somehow.
Anybody got some ice cubes?
Freeze this guy. I need about 465 million ice cubes.
Just fly him in right here. Yeah, just bring him in one more time and drop right now. Thank you. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'm excited for it. Yeah, I'm actually really excited for this movie.
I guess I don't get how you would fight any of the elementals. Like, what do you do to a giant?
You have to make the water one fight the fire.
You stop Mysterio.
One fight the water.
That's how you do it. You stop Mysterio.
I guess I never got how he would even fight Sandman. He's just sand. How do you fight sand?
Well, technically, if we were getting the Sandman that we
he didn't even beat him,
then he would just wait for him to be human again. Then he would kill. But these are like elemental giants, so I don't know.
I'm trying to remember how he's fought Sandman in the comic books, and for some reason I want to say that he used water and turned him into mud, and it slowed him down for a while. But all he did was dry out eventually.
Right.
And, that's usually how he would do it.
Because even in Spider-Man 3, he doesn't beat him.
No,
he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be good."
Yep.
And then he's like, "All right, peace out."
Yeah.
Like, what is this? He killed your uncle.
But
anything more? Any final thoughts?
No, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
It looks great. Spider-Man looks great. Hopefully Mysterio's a piece of shit and he's a liar.
Let us know what you guys think of the Spider-Man, the real Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, the one that matters, on Facebook at Zero Cred Podcast or on Twitter at ZC_podcast. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. That's pretty much all I've got, and we will see you guys. We'll see you guys on the next episode. All right.